Welcome back to the Deathmatch Arena for FAB SuperSlam. Step into the arena, folks, and get ready for the main event you won't believe. We've seen it all, haven't we? The thunderous applause for our revered champion, and the booing and jeers for those reviled villains who seek to win at all costs. Their underhanded tactics may threaten to see the arena fall into chaos, but never fear, for in this arena, no hero stands alone.
It's time for a SuperSlam!
A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando.
Hello there, my flesh and blood friends, and welcome back to the Dice Commando YouTube channel, and go again, the fabulous video cast about all things flesh and blood. So in SuperSlam, we return to the Deathmatch Arena with the worldwide release of the set in just a few weeks. And today we reveal a majestic card for our revered heroes. For, in the arena, no hero stands alone. No Hero Stands Alone is a yellow, majestic attack action for the revered talent, and a card of majestic rarity. At yellow, 3 for 6 is on curve, but this card has a heck of a twist with a base 0 attack. While No Hero Stands Alone is in any zone, if you've controlled a toughness token this turn, it gets +3 defense and ambush. Ambush, of course, being a keyword that allows a card to defend from arsenal. Not simply play from arsenal, but defend from it. When this defends, clash with the attacking hero, and the winner may choose an attacking or defending card to get -3 to both attack and defense this chain link. Prior to SuperSlam, we had only seen ambush on one other card, but the keyword appears to be coming back in force with this set. And No Hero Stands Alone is extremely interesting. While it only has ambush if you've taken advantage of a toughness token, it itself is always a 3 for 6. It also serves the purpose as an unrestricted popper. Since the when defended triggers on defense, the clash isn't relevant to this end. So there we have it, folks. No hero stands alone. Now, as we move into discussion around today's card, it's clear to me that there's quite a bit going on that admittedly I think might make it a little hard to put necessarily into full context without really having seen everything. First off, to me, flavor absolutely delivers. The ambush thing, having your friends come out of nowhere to save you, feels right in line with exactly what we would expect to see out of this set. And let's also pause for a second to look at the art on this card. Artist Kevin Siddhartha. We see a lone hero against a horde of minions with his companions waiting in the wing, ready to spring the trap. Now, turning to the gameplay, let's think about this with the toughness token. What's interesting here is obviously the 0 defense. This card really only defends successfully in conjunction with a toughness token, not necessarily for the +1 from the token, but rather to trigger the +3 defense on this card, right? And now we could say that, well, if we win the clash, we effectively get +3, which is obviously true. But in a vacuum, if we defend even for 0, even with +1 on toughness, and we win the clash, it's a net 3. Right? But on the surface, to me, that doesn't necessarily seem impactful enough to be worth the hoops. And of course, you have to win the clash. Because obviously, if you win, that seems pretty darn good, right? This card then, even without a toughness token, does quite well in that case. But with a toughness token, from Arsenal as a defending card, and winning the clash, holy value, tough nut. That said, as we've talked about many a time before, but you gotta win the clash. So to that end, right, a lot of this becomes a discussion around deck construction. Now, we were given a very strong hint by our friends over at LSS, right? When I was put into the Tough Nut versus Dice Commando bucket, it, in theory at least, kind of tipped their hand as to really the point of this card. So let's recall that Tough Nut allows us to pitch the top card of our deck, so we get resources regardless. But in addition, if the pitch card has 6 or more, then we get cheered, which creates our needed toughness. So at the very least, No Hero Stands Alone is a yellow 6 that is fuel for my previously proposed Tough Nut Club build with a ton of upside. Looking just at him and his super rare charm, we can see some upside there as well, right? His charm seems to be right up the alley for this card in basically every aspect. Tough Nut is clearly going to run an absolute S-ton of yellows. Not to say that revered heroes in general won't, it's clear that's a thing, but with Pleiades having access to Guardian cards, we'll have to see about her long term. So in closing, I think this card is super neat, and it also has some pretty crazy upside, assuming of course that we can get it to do what we want it to do when we want it to do it, right? And I won't sit here and claim that I can put it all in full context given what we know today, but I do think Tough Nut probably ends up running this at least out of the gate. Now, long term, it'll be interesting with his 3 intelligence to see if he can afford the 0 defense, especially with, the fact that he wants his hand to be empty, at least in theory. But this does seem pretty doable. Now, Pleiades, I'm actually not sure at all. Guardians don't exactly have a lack of defensive stuff, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Tough Nut, I think, certainly is looking at this card. So let me know in the comments what you think about today's card. Is it just a gimmick, or is it a real threat in the arena? Now, thanks to you all for tuning in to the spoiler premiere, especially this season. And again, a huge shout out to LSS for the continued privilege of being able to participate. And huge shout out to Fightmaster Alex for continuing to up the game every single season in terms of what you all are doing for the set. So I'll see all you folks on the tables. And as always, my friends, go Commando.